Good morning. Our devotion today comes from 1 Samuel 30. And there were a couple of things in this chapter that I thought were very applicable to our lives on a regular basis. And I'll point those out as we go through. But the chapter begins with David and his men returning home and discovering that in their absence, the Amalekites have come in, have taken their wives and their children and their possessions and burned everything. Obviously heartbroken, David inquires of the Lord what they should do, and the Lord says, go after them. On his way, he and his men discover an Egyptian man that is a servant to the Amalekites and he fell ill and the Amalekites left him there. So David, even though he's a king, he's a warrior, he shows a very gentle, compassionate side. And he gives this man food and water, and he's nursed back to health. Now in turn, the Egyptian tells David and his men where to find the Amalekites. Now David had about 600 men with him, but 200 of them were feeling very exhausted from the battles they fought and from this journey. And they stayed and watched over the supplies for the rest of the men. And David and 400 men went, found the Amalekites, got back their wives and children, their possessions, and headed back home. Now, it's at this point that David was going to share all the possessions with the 200 men that did not go into battle with him. But there were some men of the 400 that said, no, we're not going to do that. They didn't fight, so we're not going to share with them. And David reminded them, you know what, these gifts, they're from the Lord. So we are going to share with the men that stayed here. They stayed, they watched our possessions, they played a part also. That was one point. And another point is, I think we need to remind ourselves that not all of us are not all going to be in the spotlight. Some of us are going to be behind the scenes in our work for the Lord. And even though the men were in battle and they were in the spotlight, the ones that stayed back and watched the supplies were just as important, because if they lightened the load for the men who went into battle, and also when they got back, they had supplies ready to take care of them. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.